Boom, and we're live. What's going on? This is Ugo Opara, PA licensed real estate agent and investor, reporting to you live from the city of Philadelphia, where it is currently, I believe, negative 20 degrees. And I don't want to go outside. I hate it. And the crappy thing was that 2 days ago it was so nice. Thursday was really nice. Friday got real nippy. Real quick, shout out to my investment group. We just settled on we just picked up a 3 unit yesterday, so super excited to get that taken care of. So big shout out to you guys. Real excited. And but now, so in this video, what we're going to talk about is we had a question from a Mr. Roberts, and we're going to get that answered. YouTube picking back up with the YouTube questions. And actually, I haven't really been getting a lot of them, or like the ones that I have been getting, I can just point them to a video that I have already made. So I'm challenging you guys, if you're watching this video and you're on my channel and you see something that I haven't answered, by all means, hit it, let a brother know, ask me a question, and I'll be more than happy to make a video like this. And the goal for me is to do 52 of these little question thingies. So I want to get to episode 52 by the end of this year. So that's about a video a week. So there's no way you guys there's no way the internet can't do that. So I'm pretty confident. Let's make it happen. But anyways, let me read this and then we'll take it from there. It says, "Hello, I am very interested in investing in Philadelphia, but I'm not local. My goal is to get a rental portfolio in Philly. My question is, how do I get started? I have done my analysis on the buy and hold strategies, but I would like to consult with you for the most economical available option to get my goals achieved. Your path is somewhat what I'm looking for to follow to be financially secure. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks, Robert." Boom. Robert, thanks for your email. And getting started as far as like building a rental portfolio in Philly is I think is a sweet spot to be at right now. Philly is one of the few, I would say, like truly urban areas where the prices haven't gone bonkers yet. I mean, if you live in Philly, or if you're in Philly, 2 hours in almost any direction kind of gets you to a metropolitan area where the prices for rent is double and the prices for housing is doubled. So Philly, you compare it to the DC, you compare it to New York, you compare it to New Jersey, you compare it to Connecticut. I mean, it's just like, keep going. I mean, we're cheap, we're inexpensive, and that opens up an opportunity, because at least from what I'm seeing right now, Philly is definitely moving towards where it's not going to be affordable. You know what I mean? Philly is moving in that direction, and I don't see a way for it to be stopped. I think that, one of the reasons that Philly has been low is a lot of crap. There's a lot of crap out there, and that lies the opportunity for us as investors to pick up that crap, turn it into something nice, put a tenant in there, or flip it and put a responsible family in there that's going to contribute to the neighborhood. But enough about that. Let's get rolling. I already made a couple of steps. So the first thing that I do, and this is what I tell my coaching clients, the very first step is, we got to assess yourself, assess your finances, and keep it 100, exclamation mark. Be very mindful of that exclamation mark. There's a very powerful exclamation mark. Don't kid yourself with the finances, man. And a lot of people, where, if they're looking to invest in real estate, they go to assess their finances. It's looking like, hey, listen, this, you might need to sit out for 6 months and see if you could save an extra $500 to $1,000 over those 6 months, or over that year, whatever the case may be, and then come back and try to do something like that. So step one is just know your target. I think that is one of the most helpful things when you're looking at your finances. You want to try to figure out, okay, well, what on earth, what am I getting into real estate for? Why am I looking to invest in real estate? Is it because you saw something on HGTV and now you're interested in it, or what is the goal? You know what I mean? Like for me, I'm looking for financial freedom. I'm looking, and that is too vague. What is the target number? So for me, it's $36,000 a month net, right? So that is the number on the short term. The long term, I want $84,000 a month. $84,000 a month would be $1 million in revenue, which would make me officially annually an annual millionaire, which is what I want to do. But the reason for that is that it guarantees that I'm in a position where I can take care of not just my immediate family, but people that I care about, organizations, go back to Nigeria, give back there, help change things in that regards, and just really not be tied down. And it also proves to those that are around me and look up to me that, hey, Ugo did his thing. He went out there, he built something, and despite all the headaches, he pulled through, and that is inspirational. So if someone else, is out there and they're trying to do the same thing, but they don't have the same support, like I didn't have the support that I had when I first got started. The support came after, success started, kind of sprinkling. It's good to know that, hey, listen, the path that you're going has been traveled. There are a ridiculous amount of pitfalls, but you will persevere and you will make it through. So yeah, but just know your target. I mean, it doesn't have to be something crazy like 36. I mean, or even 84. Mine, it could be something that's like, look, man, my mortgage is $1,200. It's $1,200 a month plus utilities. I'm at $1,500 a month, $1,600 a month. If I can cover that, then that'll really help me and my wife or whatever. I don't know, whatever. That'll really help me out. So then that would be your goal. You know what I mean? And that's a very reasonable goal. That's typically where I tell people to start. See if we can let's start freeing up your liabilities. Let's start covering your liabilities. So, if someone has $1,600 a month that they want to crack, that might be a situation where we need to just round that up to 2,000 to be on the safe side. And now we know that, okay, maybe the goal is 3 properties that net $800 a month. That way we're at 24. And if our target is 16, then at least we have some overhead in the event that we have a vacancy or a repair or whatever. You know what I mean? So now we have a goal. We need 16 $1,600 a month, but I would say, bump that up to 24 or 26 just to be on the safe side. So that's the goal. That's the goal, is to cover that mortgage payment regardless of what happens or what's going on. So that's the goal. And then next that would be, how much cash do you have, or how much cash do you have access to? So that's kind of weird. What do I mean? So cash you have is what's in your bank account right now. Cash you have access to might be, investments that stock market, things you need to sell, CDs, certificates, stuff like that. And then also another thing to think about, which I'm a big fan of, again, it has to be under the right circumstances. But man, your credit, man. A lot of people have really good credit. Like my girl has like an 8 something, but people don't do nothing with it. I mean, that's a very powerful thing. When you have good credit, you can go out there, get a credit card. The credit card will have 0 APR, 0 balance transfer fees, just 0 for X amount of months, for X months, right? So a credit card that I'm using now, they gave me like, I think $27,000, and is 0 interest for, I think, 12 months. $27,000, man. I probably will do, and I repeat myself, I probably will do 3 deals with that credit card. I probably will make about maybe 3 times what the balance on that credit card is after paying it off, right? After paying it off. So so let's say I'm getting it. They gave me 20,000. Let's say off of the 27, I pull 20 of it. What I'm saying is, with that 20, I can make 60,000, take 20, pay the card off, and still walk away with $40,000 net in my pocket, because I was able to leverage that credit card. So that's a very powerful thing. A lot of people with good credits just completely overlook that. And it doesn't have to be a credit card. It could be a line of credit. You can open up lines of credit as well. I say go in and open everything you can and see what it proves you. And then you continuously ask for increases. We talk about that in the coaching course. 401k, if you have a 401k, liquidate that sucker. Again, this all depends on how committed you are and where you're at with it. Also, you want to see what the returns are on that 401k. If you've gotten pretty good returns, then maybe you just borrow against it. Maybe you don't liquidate it, you borrow against it. Talk to your HR department, figure out what makes sense. Savings, maybe you have the money aside, and then ETC, anything else you could think of, check it out. Another thing to do is consider partnerships. Maybe you only have $7,000 in the bank. $7,000 is not necessarily going to help you do a deals, but if you partner with 3 other people and they each have $7,000, now y'all got 21. 21 can get you in a deal. So that is something that I never did, and now I'm doing it, pretty frequently. Like I said, we just had settlement yesterday. I'm spearheading a project for a group of investors to pull their money together, and I'm running lead on that, and everyone's gonna win, everyone's gonna eat, you know. Or JV, or I mean, sorry, or have an equity partner. Equity partner is someone that says, "Hey, look, man, here's X amount of money, and in a year or in 6 months, I'm expecting to be paid in full and get an X amount of dollars on top of that. You guys would agree on a rate of return, and do it that way, and that's interesting. I mean, that's a really cool thing. Um, and you just have to be careful how you market that. I am not on the board of SEC or whatever the case may be, but that is definitely something that you could do. Typically, it's easier with friends and family. Friends and family that have been working, so they have a pretty nice amount in their 401k, and they're not getting the type of returns that they want to get. Those are typically your ideal, or people that just have money sitting in cash for no reason. Those are typically your best bets. If but at the same token, 9 times out of sometimes people think, oh, well, because I'm new, I'm not, they're not going to want to lend to me. And you'd be surprised if you go through and learn what you need to learn, and you're able to present yourself the way you're supposed to present yourself, and the deals actually make sense. I don't see why anyone would not be able to lend, would not be willing to lend to you. And then the downside where people don't talk about, at least the videos that I've seen, is you gotta make sure you could take on an extra payment, because even when you do the credit cards, right, they might ask for a minimum payment. They might still ask you for a minimum payment. So you gotta be able to make sure you can carry that without going into debt. Once you pull the money off that credit card, when you get the credit card, you're not doing anything with it. No worries at all. But the moment you pull it, you're going to get a bill. There's going to be a minimum payment, and you're going to need to make it. So be mindful of that. Also, if you go about the hard money route, then you already know you're going to have to make payments on that, and interest-only payments on that. However, there's a couple of ways around that. A couple of different hard money lenders that don't charge you the monthly payment. They just roll it into the loan, and you pay it in one lump sum when you go to settlement or you do your cash out refinance. And then also don't be scared to pick up another gig. You know what I mean? I frequently, depending on how tight a deal gets, I mean, I frequently will just hop in a lift, and just make it happen. So I'm not against that in any type of way. I don't see it as a belittling thing. It's, you're in a situation and you're doing the best you can to better yourself. I don't think anyone should get clowned for that. Your boy does it. I have a Lyft account, and if I feel if I feel the need to, I'll hop in that Lyft, make a quick 80, $100, and keep it moving. You know what I mean? It's been, I'll typically only work Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. Man, I might make like $200-$300. $100, probably a little bit more than $300, but you got a budget for the car, putting gas into it, all that stuff. But I might walk away with a clean 300. That's not bad to me. I mean, because that means that'd be my spending money for the following week. So I'm not touching into any of the rentals. Some deals get tight like that. So next you got to pick your market, and I want to say that the biggest mistake I hear people say, especially when they're out of market, I mean, when they're not local, right? And this is why I'm saying this, is I want to buy in a hot neighborhood. I want to buy in a hot neighborhood. And typically what happens in hot neighborhoods is that once a neighborhood is hot, you've kind of missed the boat, right? You've missed the boat. The people that are doing really well bought land. Most of them had already bought land a while ago, and they were just holding on to it, and it just manifested to what it is now. So for you to try to dive in on top of that, you're going to be paying an arm and a leg for those areas. Now, a deal can be found anywhere. There's no stipulations. I'm not saying that you can't find a deal in these trending markets. You absolutely can. But for someone starting out to say that that's the area that you want to focus on, I would try to deviate from that. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to see much of an appraisal. You're going to be buying at the top of the market. The cash flow is not going to be where it needs to be simply because you're buying in an area that has so much demand that they don't need to sell it at a discount to an investor. They just, a lot of people don't. Someone is going to come and buy it because the neighborhood is trendy and people want to be there. So, I personally stay away from those areas. However, again, a deal could be found anywhere. So if that's something that's truly of interest, knock yourself out. But I say F the trends. No, seriously, F the trends. And focus more on what, I would recommend you pick an area that you're comfortable with or somewhat comfortable with or familiar enough with it that you can head out there and learn it. You know what I mean? And if you're not local, then again, pick out a new market and go head over there and study it. You know what I mean? And typically the beautiful thing about real estate is that as you're studying a market, there's going to be a market right next to it or something like that maybe not as trending, but it's like, a 5-minute bicycle ride to the next neighborhood. So it's things like that. So I would not follow the trends. I would follow the numbers. And with that goes to my second to last bullet point, is figuring out what for you is a good deal. Everyone's chasing numbers, but for example, what I consider to be a good deal and what one of my mentors considers to be a good deal are totally different. And then I would add on top of that is like, think about the lifestyle that you want. Are you going to self-manage or are you going to get a property manager? If you're going to self-manage, then maybe does it make sense to have a bunch of single-family properties scattered over, or does it make sense to have a couple multi-families where you're getting more doors? You know what I mean? Like things like that. So you want to kind of back-end it and figure out what makes sense for you. And once you know what a good deal is, then you can say, okay, cool, in this area, okay, cool, that is overpriced, but if I can get it at this number, it would make a good deal. But you got to know what a good deal is for you. One of the most frustrating things are just like things that always blows my mind is that I'll get a call, and this is me as a real estate agent. I'll get a call and it's someone that's an investor, and they're saying, hey, what's going on? My name is such and such. I just wanted to give you a call, see if you had any good deals. Good deals where? Like, what do you what do you mean? It's, just if you have any properties that are off market, and I just want to get a good deal. Can you find me a property that's a good deal? Yeah, I guess, sure. I mean, what's your criteria for a good deal? And then it's just like crickets. Right, they have no idea they have no idea what's going on, and I'm just like, if you don't know, how am I supposed to know? What you think is I'm in Philly? I'm just gonna be like, oh, here are all the good deals. I don't know. Some deals are good if you buy them cash. Some deals are good because they don't need a lot of rehab. Some deals are good because they're in a because if you demolish it and you buy right, have the ability to build something bigger. You know what I mean? There's so many different things that quantify or go into the calculation to figure out what's a good deal. And the person that inputs the data is you. So you got to figure out what for you makes sense as a good deal. For me right now, all I want is multifamilies. And it has to make me $1,000 a month. If it doesn't, then I'm not interested. It's not a good deal to me. Now, with that being said, does that mean that I won't buy a building that makes me $800 a month or $900 a month? No, but I don't lead with that, because if I lead with 800, then I might buy something then I'm gonna buy something that cash flows for 700 or 600. So I lead with 1,000, and also what that does is it challenges me to make sure that the numbers work and that a deal is actually a deal, because I know what's gonna work for me, and so many people have no clue I don't know what you tell me, brother. You're in the business. These words from actual clients. I'm like, bro, I don't know how much you make. I don't know what you're getting on your other investments. I don't know what type of investor you are. I don't know what's the cost for you to borrow the money that you. I know nothing about you. You just called. I just met you 5 minutes ago. How does that even make any sense? So you need to make sure you know what's a deal for you, and you got to make sure it matches with the market that you're picking. Right? You see that? That's why I have them in the same thing. And if it does, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Now, some people say, oh, there aren't any deals in my market. There's deals in every market. There are deals in every market, darling. Don't give me that BS. It might be significantly harder. That I'll allow you to say that. It might be significantly harder. You know what I mean? I'll allow you to say that. Or it just might not be there right now for your target property. Like right now in Philly, man, these multis are getting snatched off. Multifamilies are getting snatched up so quick, it's making my head spin. So I don't compete in that space. I compete in the conversion space. So I'm buying stuff that people don't know are actually apartment buildings. And then I buy right, convert them, right? See the pivot? Did you catch the pivot? Did you catch the pivot? That's what I'm talking about. A lot of people just mosey on, they take it so lackadaisical and da-da-da-da-da. And then, you know, the moment they hit a roadblock, oh, ain't no deals in my neighborhood. Okay, but just can't be, because that would mean that there aren't any sales going on or there aren't any deals being made. No, there are deals being made. You just might need to pivot, you know what I mean, and figure out, well, what's the angle that I can take to find, or what's the untapped market? Like something somewhere is gonna work out if you just gotta go through the motions of finding it. You know what I mean? Or depending on what you classify as a good deal, it might work out. If I'm over here because I want to make $1,000 a month, but you only need to make $2,000, right? Let's say you're already making a bunch of money from your job. You just want to start building for retirement because you know, hey, look, man, in 5 years I'm out of here, and you just want to buy these rental properties, and you know you're going to be able to. I have a client right now. He buys a property, pays it off in a year. He buys another property, pays it off in a year. Buys another property, pays it off in a year. And for me, that is disgustingly slow. I look at him and I'm like, what is this? What is going on? Because for me, it doesn't work. Though that is not a deal. But for him, it makes perfect sense. He's a medical doctor. His wife is a nurse. They make at least $250,000 a year. The properties that they're buying are 150 or less, right? So they have the ability to take at least 50% of their income, pay off a property. And a lot of the properties that he's buying are small duplexes where you're getting it's a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom. You're probably getting maybe, you know, 900 on the 2-bedroom, and then you're probably getting, you know, you're probably getting 900 on the 2-bedroom, on a 1,000 on a 2-bedroom, and then maybe around 800 on a 1-bedroom. So 1,800 coming in with no mortgage or anything like that. That's 1,800. Their goal is to buy 10 properties in the next, you know, over the course of 6 to 7 years. Because their goal for them when they retire, what they want to do is they want to make sure that they consistently have $10,000 a month coming in. And that's the goal. That's the vehicle that they want. They don't want a big portfolio because they don't want the headache of managing it, or the headache of putting that management on somebody else's shoulder. So what they're focusing on is eradicating the debt, right? Which I'm like, come on, guys. Eradicating the debt, building a portfolio, and just, you know, collecting that cash flow. And if you're getting $1,800 per property, you know what I mean, you get 10 of those, it's $18,000 a month. You know what I mean? And that means they have $8,000 a month of wiggle room before it eats into the $10,000 a month that they have. And with the properties being paid off, I mean, it's true income. That is the NOI. That is, well, you know, that gross is going to be very darn close. That gross rent is going to be very close to actual net rent. You know what I mean? So it's so many different strokes for different folks. There's no rights or wrongs. You know what I mean? Some you know, you follow the principles of it having a cash flow, of the property having to cover itself. You're not banking on appreciation, but you know, there's so many ways to make it make sense, to make it work out. And what works for you might not work for the person next to you, and what works for that person next to you might not work for me. But it's important that you know what you're looking for and you know what it works, because if you don't know what you're looking for, then your team will not be able to help you find it. With that being said, let's talk about you assembling your team. So real estate real estate, along with many things, is one of those things where you just can't do it yourself. And well, you can, but you can't do it yourself quickly and efficiently. You can't do it yourself. So who's going to be on your team? And I kind of put it in order of, you know, where you would need to be at. So first thing you want to do is you got to get the financing. So your team in that line would be hard money lender, your private lender, you know, 0 APR, lines of credit, credit cards, whatever. You know, joint ventures, if you're partnering, you know, let's say, hey, you have 15 and I say, hey, I have 15. We come together, now we got $30,000. Maybe we can pull a deal off that way. You know, pulling up from your 401k and, you know, insert anything else that you have there. This is all your financing. This is how you're getting the money to pick up the property. Next is you're going to have your realtor or your wholesaler. You know, this is typically where you're going to get the deal from, right? One of these people is going to give you is going to give you the deal, or you can put yourself in there. You could do driving for dollars, mailers, whatever the case may be. But I wouldn't consider them as part of your team because you're you. Title company / attorney, and then a lawyer. This is for all legal issues. Title company is going to check what's going on with the property, make sure there aren't any liens or judgments or anything like that, making sure that when you pick it up, it is clean, it is free and clear, no issues like that. Next underneath that is your contractor, property manager, cleaning crew, and then probably another contractor because these contractors come and go. But real quick, I just want to shout out to the crew that I have now. Thank God for you guys. You guys are doing so well, and I'm very proud of you. So I got a phenomenal crew right now, and they're literally resuscitating me, bringing me back from the grave, and I cannot thank them enough. I just can't thank them enough. We're finishing up a project this month, and then we're sliding right into the 3-unit that we picked up yesterday. And then after that, we got another 2-unit, and then after that, we got a single. So I'm very excited for all of that. And then the last thing is just putting it all together. And over here to my top right-hand corner, we have the youngest orchestra. We have the youngest conductor to orchestrate the youngest conductor, my guy, Mr. Matthews, 11 years old, and he's doing good. But that's kind of what you have to do once you have all these moving parts. Your job then becomes the orchestrator of all of these moving parts. You find a deal, you make sure it's a deal, you check it out, you run your numbers, get the comps. And when I say comps, not just the comps on the sold properties. Figure out what the comps are for the rentals as well if you're doing a rental, because it's good to know up front what those numbers are so that you can run your numbers accordingly. And always be conservative. When I run my numbers on a rent, I try to take it down by $50, $100 if I can. And when I do my rehabs, I'll try to make sure that I have maybe a 10 to 15% contingency just in case we run into anything. You can blow through that money very quickly, so be scared. If it is a deal, then you would write the offer up. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, let me lowball the seller, right? Let me lowball the seller, see what they say, and we'll take it from there. I don't want to play my best cards." I completely disagree with that. I say you run your numbers, you figure out what's the best number for you, shoot your shot and let it land. I think one of the biggest, and I learned this recently because the property that I bought yesterday, it took me 3 times to buy that property, and the first time I could have got it under contract. I was playing and someone else bought it, and then it came back on the market, and I said, "Oh, you guys are back on the market. Now you're really gonna need to accept my offer." Put the same exact lowball offer in, and then someone else took it. Someone else picked it up, and then eventually the plumbing got stolen. Plumbing got stolen. Well, no, it came back on the market, and I was like, listen, this is the universe telling me to cut this out. So I put the offer in at a much higher number. I got it under contract, right? And then the plumbing got stolen. So I was able to renegotiate and drop the price down to a number that wasn't too different from the lowball offer that I had been putting in on it. So everything worked out well. But I'm back. But yeah, so I got the property. I went under contract. And then the plumbing was stolen, and I was able to renegotiate, get the price lowered. And I really think that was the universe's way of telling me, cut it out. Cut it out. So, and I'm happy about that because I wasted a lot of time. We could have settled in December. So that means by, going on February, by March, we probably would have been, 90-80% of done the rehab. You know what I mean? That time is a deal killer. So that's a waste of anyways, everything happens for a reason. But the lesson that I learned is I don't waste my time trying to lowball the seller anymore. It's like, hey, listen, the numbers are gonna work for me. I'm gonna be happy with where I'm at. You're gonna be happy, and it is what it is. So, but I will say when I am kind of at my max, like right now, I have finishing up a property right now. We have one we picked up. I have one that's in the tuck, and then I'm pretty stretched on what I got going on right now. So I'm not really going to be taking my own advice here because I'm not really looking to start anything right away. So the offers that I'm putting in right now are horrendous. And that's because if I lose them, I don't care, right? Now, once I get an open slot, I try not to have more